Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing my first 2026 United States House of Representatives prediction since the 2025 election. So with all this new stuff, we have a new pre-filled map of all the safe and likely seats as you see here. But before we get into the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and now let's get into it. So as you see here, we've already filled out 201 Democratic seats and 199 Republican seats. We have 156 safe Democratic seats, 149 safe Republicans. These ones are going to go to Democrats and Republicans by over 15%. We also have 50 likely Republican states and 45 likely Democratic states. So these are going to be the ones that are going to go between 5 and 14.9%. And then we have 35 seats that are going to go below 4.9%. Or at 4.9%. So, yeah, once again, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into our predictions. But before we do that, I want to look at some redistricting. So, the redistricting that we're going to be looking at, we're going to look at VoteHub, their redistricting tracker. I'm going to be looking at California, Texas, Missouri, Ohio, North Carolina, and yeah, that's going to be it. So, Missouri, you see here, I actually didn't change this one yet, but Missouri, we're going to start off with Missouri then. They're targeting one Democratic seat, and that is Emmanuel Cleaver's district in St. Louis. Sorry, not St. Louis. What is this? This is, Kansas City. Sorry. But Cleaver, he won by 24% in 2024, and in 2026 is Cleaver. Yeah, he is running for re-election, but, I mean, the 5th district, it's going to be, let's see here in Missouri, it's going to go from D plus 12 to R plus 8, so that would be a 20% shift to the right. Would be very hard for Emmanuel Cleaver to hold on to this state, in the state of Missouri. So not the state, the district, but Cleaver, yeah, I mean, unless he wants to hip hop over to the 1st district, that's still going to be pretty Democrat with Wesley Bell. I mean, he could do that, but it seems like his political career is over. So that would go from a 6-2 Republican delegation in Missouri to 7-1. It would make a couple seats less red, but that's fine. It would make the 2nd district a bit closer. I'm going to actually move it to, actually no, it makes it wider in the voter registration, but the 3rd district and the 4th district and the 6th district are going to be much more closer. I'm going to have, yeah, I think the 3rd district is going to go likely Republican with this new map. So this is a new map for Missouri. No toss-up seats, once again, because redistricting doesn't really want to swing seats. So that would go from 3 likely Republican seats, 4 safe Republican seats, and 1 likely Democratic seat in the state of Missouri. Now let's go over to the state of California. This one favors Democrats. Proposition 50 just passed a couple days ago in the state of California, and let's look at this new map. So it targets 5 Republicans in the state, starting off in the 1st district with Doug LaMalfa. Doug LaMalfa, he won by 30 points in 2024, but this time it expands his district into coastal areas that are very safe Democrat, held by a very safe Democratic representative, Jared Huffman. This would make LaMalfa's seat safe Democrat. And you also see that Yapim has already edited the California maps to look like the new map for 2026. So that would make LaMalfa's seat basically unwinnable for Republicans in 2026. The next seat is Kevin Kiley's seat in the 3rd district. He won by 11 points in 2024, but you do see what he does, what the new map does to his district. It makes it like go from here all the way down there, and now it just takes up more populous areas in the valley. And you see here how small his district is. It would not be as Democrat as the LaMalfa district, but it would still make Kevin Kiley's district much more blue. It would make it D plus 12 maybe. So yeah, basically unwinnable for Kevin Kiley. I want to pull up California here. So it would go from I believe, 9 favored Republican I think, wait, how many is that? No, 5 favored Republican seats and a couple swing seats that are favored for Republicans to only 4 Republican seats and 3 swing seats. So, California, the 3rd district would go, 1.7% for Republicans to Democrats by 5.4%. In the 1st district, 11.7 for Republicans, 6.6 for Democrats. So, it would be somewhat winnable for Kylie, but extremely unlikely. He would have like a 2% chance of winning in the state of California. The next district they're targeting is David Vallejo's district in the Central Valley, the 22nd. He only won by 6.8 points in 2024. So his new district, before, the Republicans were only up in voter registration by 0.6. Now it shifted only 2.1 points to the left, so it's definitely winnable. Democrats are up by 1.5, so it's definitely winnable, and I have it as a swing district. We'll talk about it later, so make sure to watch until the end of the video to see what happens with David Vallejo. The next district is Darrell Issa's district in Southern California. He won by 18.6% in 2024, but now his district is somewhat 50-50 actually. They weren't able to make most of the Republican districts extremely Democrat. So it's winnable for Darrell Issa, I'll say that. So it's going to be like, what is it, in the 48th. It goes from R plus 7.3 to D plus 2. So if you shift that 9.3 to the left, Issa's actually still favored, but in the actual general election, he'll probably have a less of a vote share. So we'll definitely see. It is going to be winnable for Issa, but if there is a blue wave, he's probably going to go down. And then the final seat they're targeting is Ken Calvert's seat, the 41st district. They were actually deciding on whether to axe Young Kim or Ken Calvert. They went with Ken Calvert. He only won by 3.4% in 2026. So Ken Calvert, his new district will be extremely safe Democrat. I believe it's this one. But Young Kim's district, they made her district much more Republican. Take some of these redder areas in Ken Calvert's district. So Ken Calvert's actually not running in his district anymore. He's running and primarying Young Kim in the new 40th district. And the thing is, it's actually winnable for him in the primary because Young Kim's new district actually encompasses a lot of old voters from Ken Calvert's district, but now it's newly drawn, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see, but Young Kim's district is going to be safe Republican. We'll see who wins the primary. But we'll come back to these swing seats in California later. And now we're going to go to the state of Texas. Texas, they leave no swing seats, and they are basically axing 5 Democratic seats in the state of Texas. They're going to go from 13 favored Democratic seats to only 8. So, first of all, they're targeting, let's see here, they're getting rid of Greg Casar's seat, the Texas's 35th congressional district, and you see here, this one's going to look like this now. But the thing is that Lloyd Doggett, the 37th district, which is now the new safe Democratic district, the only one in, I believe, Houston? Austin. Lloyd Dodgett's district, he is not running for re-election because the new 37th district, even though it is Lloyd Dodgett's, it actually encompasses Greg Casar and not as much as Lloyd Doggett. So Lloyd Dodgett's not even running for re-election. It's going to be Greg Casar running there. So Republicans are easily going to flip the 35th. They're also getting rid of the 18th congressional district in the state of Texas? And because I know they're also getting rid of Al Green. Al Green's district, he's running in another one, I believe. But this one he was actually uncontested in 2024. But now the new 9th district, as you can see here, is very safe Republican and went from D plus 23.2 to R plus 6.4. The 18th district is safe. Sorry, not the 18th. I think they had a change of plans. But they're also getting rid of, I believe, the 28th district. This one actually belongs to a Democrat, even though it already favored Republicans. Henry K.R., he won by 5.6 points. They only shifted this one to the right by 0.8. And the reason for that is because Henry Carroll's already having a really hard re-election bid because in April he faced corruption and bribery charges, so it's going to be hard for him to win re-election anyways. So I guess Republicans were just not too worried about him. So I'm going to make that district likely Republican. Also, same with Vincent Gonzalez's district. He only won by 2.6 points in 2024. So the new 34th district went from D plus 0.3 to R plus 3.5. So it's not looking good for Vincent Gonzalez. And it's also targeting the 35th district, which is Greg Casar's, like I said before. And the final one, the fifth one that they're targeting is Julie Johnson's district up in Austin. So, sorry, not Austin. What is this? Dallas. Yeah, Julie Johnson's district. They're expanding her district into these rural areas. I believe it's this one or this one. I forgot, but that would make her seat extremely Republican. So it goes from D plus 13 to R plus 8. So that's it's 5 Democrat to Republican flips in 2026, what we're seeing in Texas, and no swing districts that they're leaving here. A very big cleanup of Democrats in the state of Texas. Now, for North Carolina, they're only targeting one seat, and that was swing state representative Don Davis's. It was a very easy redistricting. Davis only won by 1.7. He's somewhat of a moderate representative in the House. And you see here the new North Carolina map was passed, and that would make it like very safe Republican. Actually, no, not safe, I believe, but a bit more likely Republican seats in North Carolina. But Don Davis's seat is going to go red, so that it's a big pickup and a pretty easy one for North Carolina Republicans in 2026. So we're going to go to Utah now. Utah, this was a court-ordered redistricting. They split Salt Lake City 4 ways, so there were no Republican seats before. I mean, the closest one was won by Celeste Malloy, and that was by 23 whole percentage points. So they're going to be making, I believe, the 1st and 4th district remain very Republican by double digits. You see the first is R plus 14, and the 4th is R plus 23. But for the second one, they go from 9.8 to only 3 points for Republicans. Republicans are actually still favored there. I'm going to make the 2nd district actually likely Republican here, because 3 points, it's going to be more Republicans actually than 3%. But the 3rd district's only going to be 1 point for Republicans. That goes 9.7 to 1. And the representative there is Mike Kennedy. In 2026, you already have Democrats running, right? Actually, no, you don't have any Democrats running, because I don't think this is... I think it's done. They haven't added it to YAPMS yet, I believe. But, yeah, it's going to be hard for Republicans to keep control of the 3rd district. Well, yeah, because, we'll see. It takes most of Salt Lake City. I think Republicans might still be favored there, but it will definitely be a swing seat, and Democrats could definitely flip it. So that's it for Utah. We'll get to the final district there later. And we go to Ohio now. Ohio's a really interesting one. So you go to Ohio. Ohio, you have one major flip. They kind of made a deal with Democrats here. It's not the 1st district. The 1st district is still winnable for Democrats. That is Greg Landsman's district. It goes from, he won it by 9.2% in 2024. So it's only a R plus 0.7 RVI. So it's possible for Landsman to hold on. But the one they were targeting here was the 9th district. It was actually already favored for Republicans, but swing state representative Marcy Kaptur was able to just barely hold on in 2024, but now they are axing her. She is going to be gone. Shifted her seat 2.1% to the right, so it's unlikely for her to win. And also, in the 13th district, they actually shifted this one. It was a swing district to the left in a deal with Democrats. Amelia Sykes' district, where she only won by 2.2%. It will be going from only a 0.4% edge for Democrats to 1.9% edge. So, you have actually quite a bit of swing seats now in here. Actually, I'm going to move the 15th to, yeah, I'm going to move the 15th over to the likely Republican category. That is Kerry's district. Yes, so likely Republican. But you do have a lot of like closer Republican still favored seats. And then you also have, what is this? The 10th congressional district, and that is in, yeah, Turner's. So we'll put that in likely Republican as well. So you have Captor's seat, which is still somewhat of a swing seat, because Captor is actually running for re-election even with redistricting. Landsman's seat, Sykes' seat, and I believe, what is that? Oh yeah, Miller's seat, Ohio's 7th is R plus 5.5. I'm actually going to move that into likely Republican as well. So this is Ohio. We're going to get to the 3 swing seats later, but this is all of the seats filled in with redistricting implied. We took a while with that, but now we're going to move on to filling all of these swing seats up. Democrats sit at 200, Republicans sit at 204, 31 toss-up seats, first to 218 wins. We're going to start off with Maine second. This was looking like a competitive race until incumbent Democrat Jared Golden announced that he would retire just a couple days ago. He was facing a challenge from the left in the primary by Matt Dunlap, the state auditor. Golden still would have won the primary, but he is not running for re-election because of concerns for his safety, for his family's safety. He cited death threats almost every single day. So, I mean, I can't blame him. Facing stuff like that isn't really something you want to deal with. So, that favors this seat that went to Donald Trump on the presidential level in 2024 by almost double digits to Republicans. The Republican nominee is likely going to be Paul LePage, the former governor of the state of Maine and nominee for governor by the Republicans in 2022. And LePage is pretty strong in this area of Maine. When he ran for governor, even though he lost statewide by more than Trump, I believe, compared to 2020, he still won in Maine's 2nd congressional district by 2%. So, I mean, it's going to likely be LePage winning here. So, I think it's going to go lean Republican. I think he wins by like around 3 right now. It is possible that Democrats pull off an upset by nominating a good candidate. You could have Troy Jackson jump into the race, but Matt Dunlap right now is not really a good candidate. Now we're going to go to New York. You have a couple swing districts here. Josh Raleigh, he flipped this from, Mark Molinaro in 2024 by only 2.2%. I think he's going to win by a much larger margin now, probably doubling his win by probably to 4.5. Not much to talk about there, to be honest. You have Mike Lawler. I think it's going to be closer, within 5 points. He won by 6.3 in 2024 with a Trump wave in New York. New York shifted to the right by like 12 points on the presidential level. I think Lawler wins by around 3.5. And then on Long Island, you have 2 swing districts. You have Tom Suozzi and you have Laura Gillen. Laura Gillen's district is slightly closer, and Suozzi won by 3.6 in 2024. Both of them criticized Zohar Mamdani when he was running for mayor, probably because they didn't want to get caught up in the mess if Mamdani's administration as mayor failed, and they would risk themselves of losing re-election. Suozzi even endorsed Andrew Cuomo, so I mean there's that. So I think Suozzi wins by around 4, and Gillen wins by around 3.5. So no flips yet besides Maine second. So Maine second is going to be the first flip outside of redistricting. But in New Jersey now, you have Tom Keene's district. He won by 5.4 in 2024. It's going to be slightly closer, but Keene should easily hold on. He's been holding on here for a while. So, yeah, I think he wins by around 3.8, I'd say. But now let's move over to the state of Pennsylvania. You have a lot of swing districts here. You have 3, all held by Republicans. So, I mean, Republicans are definitely going to have to play defense in Pennsylvania in 2026, even they have no Senate seats up for grabs. But you have Scott Perry, who won by 1.3 in 2024, and you have Ryan McKenzie and Rob Bresnahan, who yeah, both of them flipped these seats from incumbent Democrats in 2024 by less than 2%. Bresnahan had the largest margin out of all three of these guys, 1.6 only. I think Bresnahan holds on by less than 1%. Same with McKenzie. McKenzie's pretty strong, but I believe Scott Perry will go down in 2026. I think he's going to lose to Democrat. It's going to be Janelle Stelson, I think. She was also the candidate for this district in 2024. And she only lost by 1.2, while in 2024, Perry won by almost 8%. So, this is Pennsylvania. This is going to be the Democrats' first flip and that is going to be in Pennsylvania's 13th congressional district, I believe. 10th congressional district. So, let's move over down to Michigan now. Not Michigan. Virginia. In Virginia, you have two somewhat swing districts. You had three lean districts in 2024. I moved Subramaniam's district into likely Democrat because he actually went pretty close to likely in 2024. But David Vindman's districts, not David, oh my god. Eugene Vindman's district is going to go lean Democrat. He wins by 4.5. And in Virginia's Beaches district, Jen Kiggins, who won by 3.8 in 2024, this district will flip. She flipped this district in 2022 by 4.4%, is that? Actually, no, I think that's 3.4%. So, in 2024, it redistricted. Elaine Luria won by a lot. But in 2024, it was not Elaine Luria, but Elaine Luria could potentially come back and run for the seat. And honestly, I think she will. But if Democrats nominate Matt Strickler, I mean, they're probably still going to win. Virginia Beach actually in 2025 didn't do that well for Democrats. They didn't do that well for especially Attorney General candidate Jay Jones compared to the other candidates and compared to other places that shifted left compared to 2024. But I believe that Elaine Luria or whoever the Democratic candidate is will be able to flip this seat against Jen Kiggins. But also, Virginia might redistrict anyways and add a couple Democratic seats. But until then, this is my prediction for Virginia. And now let's go over to the state of Ohio. We have we have three swing seats to fill in here. Amelia Sykes's, I think she wins by 4%, especially her district shifting left now in the voter registration, and she also won by 2 points in 2024. In 2022, she actually won by 5.4, so she's actually not that bad of a candidate. Landsman, now his district is much more red, but he is just slightly favored. I think he wins by less than 1%. I think he wins by 0.7. And I believe Marcy Kaptur, she will lose her seat to who will the Republican be? Because Marcy Kaptur, shockingly, she is still running for re-election. Honestly, she should probably just retire. Republicans, I think they're going to nominate Josh Williams, I guess, or Derek Marin. We'll see. But it's going to be an interesting one. So I'm going to put a flip here. This is the next flip for Republicans. It matches two flips for each party so far. And that is in Pennsylvania's 10th for Democrats and also in Virginia's 2nd for Democrats as well. This is the second Republican flip following Maine's 2nd. So, yeah, there's Ohio's 9th going into the Republican flip column. Now let's move on to our next state, and that is Michigan. You have incumbent Republican Tom Barrett, who flipped the seat in 2024, fending off, I think Democrats, they're going to nominate Bridget Brink, the former ambassador to Ukraine and Slovakia, which is interesting, but I think there's a large, well, it doesn't really matter, but Tom Barrett, he's actually not that bad of a candidate compared to, like in Wisconsin, Derek Van Orden. He's a bit better than Van Orden in Wisconsin. Yeah, but I think Barrett will just be slightly able to keep on here, and I think he wins by 1.2%. Yeah, talking about Wisconsin with Derek Van Orden, that's our next swing seat. Van Orden won by 2.7% in 2024. In 2026, he's likely going to go up against Rebecca Cook. She's a local, somewhat Democrat. She ran for this district in 2024 as well. And in 2024, I think you see here that she only lost by 2.6, 2.7%. So in a Trump wave year in 2022, Van Orden actually did worse compared to 2022, which is not good for him. So Cook, I guess, is a better candidate than some other Democrats in this district. I'm going to put this district just barely for Van Orden. I think it's going to win by 0.4%. I don't see a Republican going down, an incumbent Republican going down in the state of Wisconsin in 2026. Now, for the state of Iowa, we have two swing seats here. The first one is Iowa's first congressional district. Mariannette Miller Meeks just somehow continues to be able to just barely hold on. She's been doing this since 2020. She flipped the seat in 2020. She won by, what was it, like 60, yeah, by like 6 votes. So, I mean, I think it's going to flip now. I mean, if she somehow holds on once again and keeps proving us wrong, maybe not, but in 2022, she won by 6.8. In 2024, she just once again barely won by only 0.19% against probably the best candidate Democrats have nominated so far, and that is Christina Bohannon. In 2026, Democrats are probably going to nominate Christina Bohannon once again. So, yeah, I think Bohannon should probably be able to beat Miller Meeks this time around by 2.4%. So that is going to be the third flip for Democrats in Iowa's first congressional district. But before we move on from Iowa, let's get to the third district with the Zach Nunn running for re-election. He was actually looking for a run for governor, but before Donald Trump told him to back down because he doesn't want to lose this seat, Democrats are probably going to nominate Jennifer Confers, the former minority leader of the Iowa House. So she's a pretty big name in Iowa state politics and probably going to be a fairly good competitor against Zach Nunn. But I think Nunn just barely keeps on by a lean margin, 1.9%. So now let's go to Nebraska's second congressional district, and you have Republican Representative Don Bacon finally retiring. He won here for a while. He's served here for more than a decade, and he is finally retiring. On the presidential level, Nebraska's second goes to Democrats, but he's able to win this congressional district. You have a lot of split ballot voters here that go for Bacon, while they go for Biden, Harris, Clinton, people like that. So, with Republicans finally retiring Bacon, they're probably going to nominate Brett Lindstrom, and Democrats are probably going to nominate John Kavanaugh, probably John Kavanaugh. So, yeah, this is another Democratic flip, and that brings Democratic flip totals up to 4, disregarding redistricting. So, I think Kavanaugh beats Lindstrom by 3.7%. So, now we go to Colorado. We have 2 districts to look at. The third district isn't that competitive. It's just going to go like 4 points to the Republican. It's not competitive. I doubt Democrats are going to be able to put this into play, but we'll see. It's still favored to Republicans. What we're really looking at here is the 8th congressional district. This was a flip back in 2024. Gabe Evans shockingly beat incumbent Democrat Yadira Caravello by less than 1%. Gabe Evans is running again Democrats. You have a very competitive primary. You can nominate a progressive Manny Rutinel or a kind of an establishment candidate like Dave Young or Shannon Bird. So you're seeing a lot of good fundraising from Manny Rutinel. Once again, running somewhat similar to his Earl Mamdani campaign. But is that who you want to nominate in a swing district like Colorado's 8th? That is the question. Sure, Democrats might be favored here because you are probably going to see a blue wave in 2026, but do you really want to take a risk? But I think Democrats are favored, honestly, with either candidate. I think right now, Rutinel is probably the favorite. I think he would beat Gabe Evans by 1.4%. So now we go to Utah, that district we were talking about earlier, the third district, I believe, and in 2026, you're probably going to see Mike Kennedy. I doubt he's going to switch districts, but you don't have any candidates in here yet. No, nobody actually from either party. But once the redistricting is official, because it's already been ordered by a judge, but it's been appealed a lot, I think Republicans, they're just going to barely edge it out, because you're seeing they're still winning in voter registration. The new court-ordered map, it actually doesn't favor Democrats in any seats. It just makes the 3rd and the 2nd district more competitive, unlike making all of them go to Republicans by double digits. So, yeah, there's the new Utah map, I'd say. And now let's move down to Arizona, where we have 2 more districts to look at. So, you have David Schweikert's district in Arizona's first. He won by 3.8% in 2024. And this one honestly would be favored to Republicans right now if Schweikert wasn't running for governor. Schweikert has no chance of winning the nomination by the Republicans for governor. They're going to go to Andy Biggs or maybe Karen Taylor Robson, but not David Schweikert. I don't know why he would give up his swing seat and run for governor. Right now, the only Republican in the race is the chair of the Arizona GOP, which honestly I would not trust that much, because right now, Arizona Republicans have been suffering a lot of losses statewide. Kari Lake that one time again, and them nominating Kari Lake over Mark Lamb, but yeah, I don't think Gina Swoboda would be able to win in a swing district, especially being so MAGA. So, yeah, that's why I think this one's probably going to flip blue, even though I think the 6th district, even though it was closer in 2024, I think that Democrats are going to have a better chance here because of Schweikert leaving. So that would be a flip for Democrats in the state of Arizona. I think they would win by less than 1%. They would win probably by around 0.5%. So that would be the 6th flip, adding on to the 5 we just saw earlier. So now let's go to the other district in Arizona. I have Shish Gamani just barely holding on by less than 1%. I have him holding on by 0.9%. He only won by 2.5 in 2024. I mean, he's not that bad, but in 2026, he is going to face probably Joanna Mendoza, a former Veteran Services representative for U.S. Representative Tom O'Halloran, who represented David Schweikert's district up until 2023, when Schweikert replaced him. So we're going to be looking at probably a flip in Arizona, but Democrats are going to try and put the 6th district also into play. Now let's move over to the state of Washington, where we have one competitive district. In 2024, Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez expanded her margin from 2022 by 3 points, unlike other swing state representatives who lost ground. The only one I could think of that expanded her margin by a couple points was Angie Craig, who somehow expanded her margin by 8. But MGP, she honestly might win by more than 5. I think it's definitely possible, but right now I have her winning by 4.5. Republicans, they're probably going to nominate is Joe Kent running again? Jim Walsh. Republicans. They're running, the minority leader of the Washington Senate. That's interesting, John Braun. We'll see how the open primary goes, but once again, MGP is going to be the favorite in the general election. So there's Washington for you. In Oregon, you had a flip in 2024. Janelle Bynum defeated now Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez de Raymer by 2.7%. She should expand her margin and win by 4 points, similar to MGP, because obviously she went against an incumbent back then with a Trump wave. So she honestly might also win by more than 5, but we will see. So now let's move over to the state of California, where you have 3 districts to look at. I'm pretty sure the top one is, Adam Gray's district. He only won by 0.089%. And on VoteHub, you see here that in California, for the, the 13th? The 13th district, California, and the 13th district would be, we should refresh this page. The 13th district would be D plus 2.1. So it would shift 2.8% to the left, which would definitely very favor Adam Gray. It was 0.7% for Republicans before when he won. So that's interesting. I think he wins by a lean Democrat. He wins by around 3%. So now let's go to David Vallejo's new district that would be basically 50-50. I think he just barely holds on because it technically, like, even though it's only shifting the district in total 2.1% to the left. And he won by 6.8% in 2024, so it's definitely winnable for Vallejo. And the final district in the state of California is also another 50-50 district that used to belong to Republicans. Darrell Issa, he won by 18.6% in 2024. And the new district would go from 7.3 to only for Republicans to 2 points for Democrats. That's going to be very bad because you're not going to see Democrats split their ballot for Issa, but it's still definitely winnable for Darrell Issa. I will say that. It would be really funny if California Democrats' crappy redistricting leads to Vallejo and Issa winning. But right now, I think Issa just barely loses his seat by 0.7%, but this is going to be one to watch to see if Issa holds on election night 2026. Now we go to Nevada. You have Susie Lee. She's actually facing a primary challenge from Democratic Socialist James Lawley. Susie Lee already filed paperwork. I don't think James Lawley is gonna pick up ground. The only reason I know this guy is because APAC tracker on Twitter mentioned him. But either way, Democrats are probably gonna beat the Republican. Probably it's gonna be Marty O'Donnell again. He ran for this district in 2024, and lost by 2.7%. I think Susie Lee wins by 4.5%. She wins a primary as well against James Lawley. So that's my prediction for Nevada's district. I doubt it flips. But yeah, you have of these swing districts right now. Actually, we have to do Alaska first, but Nick Begich, he flipped this district in 2024 from Mary Peltola by 2%. I think he wins by around 2.5 this time around. So that is it for our map. We have Republicans holding on by just 218 seats to 217 seats, mainly because of redistricting in Texas, North Carolina, Missouri, and Ohio, and also Utah's redistricting doesn't really favor Democrats that much. Sure, it makes these seats closer, but it doesn't create a Democratic majority district in Salt Lake City. And sure, California's efforts do sort of repel Republicans a bit, but that is not enough. Because technically, Republicans out for the swing districts, they only flip 2 seats, while Democrats flip 7. So if we looked at the swing districts only, and that would mean Democrats gained 5, they would have had a majority of the House, 220 to 215. But because of redistricting, Democrats would still lose the House. So we're definitely going to be looking at redistricting. I'll make a video about redistricting and how that has happened in 2025 and what other states could do so. Because you have Kansas, Indiana, I believe also Nebraska as well, and Louisiana, stuff like that. They could redistrict, and then you have states like Illinois. Also, Florida could redistrict for Republicans, but you have states like Illinois threatening to say that if Indiana redistricted, then they're adding 1 Democratic seat to cancel out Indiana. So it's going to be an interesting redistricting matchup in 2026. But that is it for this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.